This is Lindsay, and it's Saturday, April 5th, 2025, and I wanted to do an addendum to the video that I made earlier today about this organized stalking, community harassment perpetrated by narcissistic people. And I'd be a real fool to not be able to connect the dots of how all this is connected to 12-step groups. Because another thing, let me tell you why I feel like this and why I know this is true. My own, whenever, obviously, if you have people in your family, your immediate family, who are, alcoholics or who were alcoholics and who were involved with AA or whoever had gone to some kind of a rehab or whatever, for alcohol or drug problems, anything, substance abuse. So they had health issues that had to do with like alcohol or maybe something that they were addicted to, some kind of an addiction, right? So obviously what they do, it's all half this shit is all generational. And so they whenever these people have kids or they have adopted kids or whatever, clearly the kids, even as children and then as adults, become the scapegoats for these negligent parents who are the ones who are the alcoholics or the whatever they're involved with, okay? And in my case, by no fault of my own, is it my fault that anybody in my family who raised me or who I'm supposedly related to, it's not my fault if they were alcoholics or if they were involved with cocaine or whatever it is. It's not my responsibility, nor is it my fault. However, in society, with this behavior predictive programming and gang stalking perpetrated by narcissists, which is all connected to law enforcement, mental health, 12-step groups, which is a cult. AA is a cult. It's a 12-step cult. And yes, it can be beneficial, but there's no doubt about the fact that it's a cult. Any 12-step program is a cult. And AA certainly is no exception to that rule, and I should know, having experienced plenty with AA in the past, as well as the fact that my father, my alleged father, Ben Baldwin Jr., Benjamin Armistead Baldwin Jr., who died, he was born in, 1940, I think he was born in 43, 42, something like that. Yeah, I think 42, 43 or 42. Well, anyway, he died at age, I guess he was 60 years old when he died. Now, that's not old, and it's not young. It's just pretty much, it's considered kind of old, I guess you could say, but it certainly isn't that old, and it's certainly not considered to be young, though. But anyway, that's how he died, from liver failure, cirrhosis, so they say. Okay, but that whole thing was the whole circumstances, and this was in 2003 that he died, it was all very suspicious, so very suspicious circumstances, because I can remember very vividly, with my photographic memory, about everything about that, and where I was living, how I got the phone call when I was working at this fucking Liz's Antique Hardware store in goddamn fucking Los Angeles, where I was being set up and exploited and fucking overworked, the little basically unpaid helper doing the job of God knows how many people, getting paid nothing but being fucking singled out, as usual. Such is my life, though. It's like punishment, because these people take advantage of people that have any kind of vulnerability or something that they see as a weakness that they can exploit and overwork, and that happened to me over and over and over again throughout my life, and I never knew why. But as I've gotten older and more experiences with this kind of stuff, I know now what it's about, more so than ever, because just figuring it out. But so anyway, he died, and of course supposedly he was very active with AA at the time of his death. He basically, he drank a lot of alcohol. He smoked cigarettes. He didn't take the best care of himself, so eventually he died from what they say, he died from liver failure, cirrhosis. But obviously, there was no autopsy done on him because I know that there was not an autopsy done on him. But here's what doesn't make sense to me, okay? This is what doesn't... Okay, when a person dies, and I know this is a fact. I know there's a law about this here in Texas, at least. If a person dies, like, out in the open somewhere, like, you know, if they just die, found outside in public, then an autopsy is mandated, supposedly. So I thought that an autopsy by state law, it's mandatory to do an autopsy on that deceased individual. Well, why didn't they ever do an autopsy on him, considering he was found dead outside of his apartment complex on Bermuda Woods apartment complex over there in Spring Branch, Houston. He lived in a place called Bermuda Woods. It was an apartment complex over there in Spring Branch. I remember very well. It was like a little pink, kind of pink, peach, coral colored apartment that he lived. It looked like a little condominium, but it was an apartment. But they looked like little kind of tiny, kind of neat looking looked like a condominium. But anyway, it was like a loft, and he lived up in the he slept up in the loft up there. I liked that. I liked the way it was laid out, like designed actually for a bachelor or whatever, single person. It's not a bad place. But I remember very well what it looked like in the outside of the place, and apparently they found him, somebody in the apartment, some office manager or some office worker at Bermuda Woods Apartments, supposedly found him dead right outside, not far from his apartment, by the sidewalk, by the parking lot, on top of a manhole, a sewer manhole thing. Apparently, he was found dead on top of that, wearing his polo shirt, or Izod, like maybe I think he was wearing like a polo shirt and some Bermuda shorts, looking like he was gonna go to the beach or something, you know, because he liked the water a lot. He liked this tropical weather. He was all into sailing and boating and same thing, redundant. He was into the water. He loved being out on the boat when he was young. That was his thing, but sailboat racing, anything that had to do with cars and sailboats and racing, he was all into that. Very much into machines and building. Very, very mechanical kind of engineering type mind. Very creative man. And, you know, and when I think about it, how they exploited him so much, because I know that he was very active and I believe he was pretty popular in some of these AA meetings that he would go to religiously. And he also spent time in some rehabs. One of them was called Hazelton. I know that he went to rehab lots of different times as an adult for his addiction problem. And I believe that my mother, Kenny, who of course was already his ex-wife, or other people who he knew, kind of pushed him into that. You know, he was... I know that he had a lot of sadness and issues. I don't know a lot about... I never really knew him all that well, to be honest. I just knew that he drank a lot and that he was creative and he was funny and he was kind of a ladies' man, kind of charming man, and ladies loved him, gravitated towards him, all kinds of women. And he was funny and handsome, especially when he was younger, but they loved him. The women really liked him, and he was a very funny, outgoing, intelligent man who happened to have a drinking problem. You know, so he was never violent with me, but I was always kind of intimidated by him for whatever reason, because I never really knew him very well. You know, he was my father, but he did the best he could, I think. He wasn't a mean person to me. He just was... he didn't know how to be a father. He just didn't know how. He couldn't, and that was the problem. And he whatever his issues were, his personal issues, I really don't know. He had the failed marriage with Kenny, where I believe he found out that, you know, she was the infidelity and all this shit happened, And I don't even know, like I said, I don't know if 100% if he's my biological father. He might be, he might not be. But I have talked about before how I did a lot of research in whenever he died because I was really looking for answers for things, and uh, there he supposedly died without a will and all this kind of shit. Well, I wonder all these things, but he didn't have a will, but there was money. There was like a trust that he had from my grandparents. There was some money that was divided amongst myself and that half sibling Carter of mine. And yeah, I know that Carter. What I suspect is that that Carter was adopted. What I think is here's what I think, and I could be wrong, but my theory, part one of my theories, is that Kenny, she married him out of college. She met him and married him. Um, they met because they were in fraternity. She was in some whatever fucking sorority, and he was in some SAE fraternity at UT. He had also gone to Washington and Lee, and then he transferred to UT. I don't know if he graduated or not. I'm pretty sure he did. I don't know. I think he may have failed his French class or something, but I don't. But I think he graduated. If not, I don't know. But nonetheless, he ended up getting a job, and that's where he met my mother, Kenny, at UT back in the '60s, and then he went on to get involved with advertising companies like Reeves Smith Baldwin and Carlberg was a company he was working for, and it was his own company that he formed. And I think he basically got fired from his own company at some point, or something happened. But he was, I don't know what happened, but I just remember he worked with that advertising company for a long time when I was a child. And that Dr. Pepper commercial that was popular back in the '80s, that I'm a pepper, you're a pepper, whatever. My dad is the one who came up with that. That was his idea. And he completely, that was his original idea. So the advertising firm that he worked for, they marketed that and I guess made a lot of royalties off of that commercial that my dad, Ben Baldwin, created. Made it. It was his idea. And I'm sure that they stole, what happens to a lot of creative people such as him is they have ideas and other people fucking steal your ideas, because it's happened to me as well. So he was very successful in everything he ever did. He was always very successful. And then he lived in New Hampshire. He owned a newspaper in Franklin, New Hampshire. Once again, he was successful with that. He was published his own newspaper. He bought a newspaper called the Journal Transcript, and he was successful. But I think he was having a little bit of an affair with one of his office workers named Lee Sharp. This woman, I remember. I think they were having a bit of an affair, some kind of love affair going on, some kind of office romance. I think that she was married, or maybe she was divorced, but I don't know. They had something going on, and that was pretty fucking obvious. I know that because we used to go hang out at her house and go jet skiing with her kids. So Ben was always running around with different women, even, after his divorce with my mother. And then Marty, he was married to her, my stepmother. And I think she was a flight attendant and had been a fashion model or something. Or modeling, as well as a flight attendant from Fort Worth or something. Where is she from? I don't remember. I think she was from Lufkin, Texas. So she was like real southern, kind of southern woman, sort of kind of like a beauty queen. Like she looked like a beauty queen kind of type girl. Really beautiful, pretty woman. Came from a really nice parents. They were very nice to me. They were really nice people. And, I got along really well with her parents. And they treated me kind of like a granddaughter or something, like to that extent. But Marty was could be really nice to me, but she could also be really mean to me. And I think it was jealousy. She had a lot of envy because I was his only daughter, and I think she wanted kids really badly. But apparently, he had already had a vasectomy and couldn't have children. So she was jealous about that. She was often jealous of my mother. There's a lot of animosity between Kenny and Marty, and of course Ben was the whatever. It was just a lot of triangulation going on. Okay, I didn't know the word back then, but back in the day, before the internet, before all this fucking internet popularity and Facebook and all this shit, and nowadays people can educate themselves easily just by going on YouTube. Well, no, most people didn't know what narcissistic abuse was and all this kind of crap, but back then, people would exhibit these behaviors that nowadays it's easy to just say, okay, well, that's narcissistic, psychopathic behavior, or that's, this, or that's that. They'll slap a label on it. It's so common and trendy to do that now. But back then, it would just be that, okay, they are having an affair. There's triangulation going on because there are kids involved, and there's alcohol involved as usual, and fighting and drama, jealousy, money, fight, all this kind of stuff. Because there was always money issues. There was always stuff about like alcohol or somebody, just a lot of that kind of toxicity. And I saw it all growing up. I just kind of tried to isolate myself from it and play like it wasn't going on because I didn't like to be around it. And it made me very anxious and nervous as a child. And I just couldn't stand being around that kind of drama. It just made me sick and confused and scared and overwhelmed, like never knowing what was going to happen from one day to the next, and kind of like walking on eggshells because these people were just like so like very narcissistic and very sometimes very superficial in a lot of ways. The behaviors of these kinds of people, going to the yacht club where Ben would be with all these pretty well-to-do people, and sailboat racing, and me going to the little sailing camp, and being the little small girl who kind of got bullied and teased but treated like a little, put on a pedestal, like, oh, you're so cute, are you Ben's daughter? No, 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 no. I got treated like a little queen, but then I'd get punished. It was like I got all this attention and adoration from strangers and people, but then I'd get punished if I didn't do something, it was just weird, it was always this kind of like weird treatment that I got, but not, it was just, that's what I was growing up around as a child. And that was when, because I'd go see him every other weekend, because my mother, I had to go see him every other weekend. I had no choice. They had that custody thing where, joint custody, so I had to go spend every other weekend with Ben, and mostly during the summertime we'd go to the yacht club over there in LaPorte and go sailing, and I didn't really like it. I hated it mostly. I didn't like being by the water. I didn't like fucking I was scared of the water. I didn't like it at all. I actually fucking hated it. I liked the beach and I loved the sun, but I hated sailing. Scared the shit out of me. And I would get traumatized and scared to go out there on the boat. I was always afraid the boat was going to tump over or sink, or that I was going to fall off, or I was going to get eaten by a shark. And I absolutely hated it. And to this day, I can't stand boats or fucking ships or being in the ocean. Almost nothing scares me more than being in the water, like out in the middle of I just can't fucking stand it. It does scare me. Maybe I sound like a little coward, like get over it, but I don't like it. Just like I don't like fucking airplanes and being in a fucking airplane. I like cars. I like land travel, but I'm not into fucking boats and planes for whatever reason, just because doesn't do it for me. It's just something about it. I'm not saying I won't get in a plane, because I have, but I just don't like flying in airplanes at all. Nothing about airplanes. I just don't like it. Never have, never will. I get so sick to my stomach in a fucking airplane. But so that happened, and uh, but back to this stuff. It's like, so there's never an autopsy when he died, and I'm like, well, what if he died from cirrhosis and all that? So they say, don't they have to do an autopsy if they found him like that, dead under those circumstances with no one else around? It's just kind of weird, because I find it a little bit odd that no autopsy was done, even though, yeah, he was an alcoholic, but still, they do autopsies on people. I know that they do. At least, it doesn't matter how the fuck the person was found dead. They usually, by law, have to do an autopsy on the person to make sure that's how that person died. How do I know that somebody didn't fucking poison him? How do I know that he wasn't shot and killed or murdered? I want to know these things, because there's a lot of suspicion in my mind about that still. Because after he died, then of course, Kenny's already involved with Bob Sussman at this point, who's already trying to control my life by then. The minute she got involved with him, he was just so much into controlling my life, my money, my jobs, every fucking thing about me. My painting, trying to tell me I need to do this, do that. No, you need to go to criminal justice school. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? Wait a minute. I can make up my own mind. Let me do what I want to do. I don't want to go to fucking criminal justice school. What are you fucking talking about? I don't want to go get a master's in criminal justice. Why? I'd ask him, like, why do you want me to do that? That has nothing to do with what I want to do. I want to do art. I want to paint. I'm creative. I want to follow my passions. And this man, for whatever reason, coerced me into doing something that I absolutely fucking hated. Didn't want to do it. So I was people pleasing, and I was doing it because I felt like I had to. And it's like, he was a fucking criminal defense attorney, Jew, who was a control freak and an alcoholic at that. Another alcoholic, and I believe he was a cocaine addict as well. A neurotic Jew, cocaine addict, alcoholic that Kenny was obsessed with and married to. Then they got married, and then, his all the shit in his fucking past problems that Kenny was trying to fix. I think somebody introduced her to Bob, I believe, some real estate lady, and that all happened right when I was graduating from UT Austin, around the time I was trying to find a fucking job, after I'd signed those goddamn entertainment things and was filmed with that fucking stupid dyed goddamn fucking dumb looking black helmet head looking shit. Then these fucking Jews, all of a sudden, I was exploited by that fucking Jeremy Sparks when I was dancing with that fucking dumb, stupid, crazy lady shit. The stuff that I did, and that was very brief, but I did dance and cocktail waitress for a while. It was fucking horrible. I was so shy and hated it. I wasn't one of these, I couldn't do that. It wasn't me. So I did try it out for a brief time, but it was fucking horrible. I couldn't stand it. And it was embarrassing when I look back about the things that I did, like, drinking and getting, I had a drinking problem back then. I really did have a bit of a problem with alcohol in college, but I still was functioning. I still went to fucking class and still managed to get fucking A's on my goddamn Spanish essays and fucking shit that I had to do, so I wasn't like a complete fucking failure. No matter what you dumb fucks want to say about me, it's not true. I'm not stupid. Okay, I still managed to get a fucking degree at UT Austin in Spanish, which is not easy to do. It's not easy to get a fucking Bachelor of Arts degree in a foreign language. So shut the fuck up for you people always pressuring me and expecting too much out of me. You know what? I've done the best I fucking can. But it's never enough. It's enough for me, but for you motherfuckers, fuck you, because I'm not here to fucking people please. Right now, I am just trying to follow what I want to do in my life, since it's been so fucked up for so long, with other people telling me what to fucking do for so goddamn long. Okay? So no more of that. But anyway, I'm just saying that this fucking AA shit, back to AA. So AA is a cult, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narc Anonymous, Al-Anon. It's a fucking cult. Yeah, it's some good shit to it, but it's a fucking cult where they exploit the shit out of people. Okay? They want to get your story. They want to know shit, and they sell it to the fucking goddamn entertainment industry. They pay these fucking actors to steal your fucking identity in life with your fucking story. This is real. This is what they do. And so, I can go on and on about experiences I've had with these AA things and Al-Anon and whatnot throughout my life. But I guess the reason I'm talking about what triggered me to talk more about AA is that my mother, Kenny, keeps on telling me to go to Al-Anon meetings. Oh, you need to go find an Al-Anon meeting so that you can... Why, Kenny? So that I can fucking shame and feel guilty about the shit that you and Ben and all these fucked up all these people did to me as a child? No, you go to fucking A. Why don't you go to AA or you go to fucking Al-Anon? But I don't have the fucking time to do that shit right now. There's not enough time in the day for me to run around to the gym or driving all over the fucking place, cooking, cleaning, and then go to some fucking AA meeting where everybody's acting, hugging, and going on. I don't want to do that right now. I can have my own fucking AA meeting right here at home, or Al-Anon meeting that I could start up with a private club. But I'm not going to go driving all over the fucking city to try to find some AA meeting or some fucking Al-Anon meeting. It's a way. I don't have the fucking gas or energy to do that anymore, to be exploited more than I've already been. Unless they want to fucking pay me to do that shit. I ain't gonna fucking do it. I'm not a fucking scapegoat for the whole fucking city. Which it feels like I am anyway. But, I've been through it all. I've been through all this shit long enough to know what I'm talking about. But what triggered my little ranting about AA is that today at the gym, for whatever reason, I decided, I look around, I'm pretty observant. I like to look at machines and the brands and the equipment, because I have a fascination with machines and motors and cars and things of this nature. So I'm looking around, I'm on a treadmill that I don't think I've really ever used before at that gym. Nah, I've never used that one before. So anyway, I'm on one, the second to last one from the little aisle in the middle of the gym. I'm on the second to last free motion incline trainer. And I'm looking at the treadmill to the left of me, and I notice a sticker that says AA series, a white sticker with AA in black letters. It says AA series. And I'm like, I'm like, AA series? Well, I'm thinking, wait a minute. I've been going to the gym now for 10 years, Gold's Gym, right? And I've been using those free motion treadmills for that long as well, those same ones. And I've never once noticed that sticker on any of them before. And I was like, what? And then I started looking at some other ones, and I saw that AA series sticker decal on the free motion treadmills down there below the deck, right there on the right side of the treadmill, below the deck thing. I'm like, what the fuck? AA series? And what does that mean? What does that stand for? Well, then my mind, I'm like, oh, Alcoholics Anonymous series? And I think about how I've talked about before, how it's like going to a big 12-step program. Some of these gyms, you feel like you're at a fucking 12-step, or a bunch of alcoholics or drug, people in rehab is what it feels like sometimes. And that depends on, I notice the patterns of what I've eaten in the morning, or what they do this shit based on what you fucking eat, your body type. It's all body shaming, harassment, shit that they do to try to embarrass people. And that's what I've never been to a fucking rehab, but you know what? I'm glad I haven't. Because all it is fucking humiliating, shaming, degrading, and making you feel stupid and useless a lot of the times. Because why? Because they base all that shit on 12-step crap, which is nothing but shame-based community harassment programming. And a lot of people are mandated to go to these 12-step AA shit. Because why? Because they were fucking caught with got a DWI, or God forbid they fucking killed somebody in a car accident because of their fucking negligence, drinking and driving. Like, i.e., Jacob Sussman. Bob Sussman's son supposedly killed a man driving drunk. Fucking killed a man in his fucking pickup truck, ran him over. And guess what? That man so happened to be a veteran. Oh, he's just a nobody. They're saying, oh, he's just some homeless person. No, well, the man was a somebody. Just because everybody's a somebody. He was somebody. Just because he was homeless doesn't mean he's a nobody. But he just so happens that he was a veteran and homeless. Go figure. A homeless veteran, which pisses me off that so many veterans are homeless, and that's not really their fault. Do something. The fucking country doesn't give a shit about homeless veterans. All they care about is a fucking propaganda and fucking stupid media. Overpaid goddamn actors and athletes. But what about the homeless veterans? There's not enough help for those people who risks their fucking life for some fucking political Zionist bullshit. My mother, her father died in the fucking World War II for that shit fucking Zionist world fucking war shit, so you can watch your fucking entertainment shit. He got a Purple Heart, by the way. But anyway, I'm just saying, I don't buy into the whole fucking propaganda shit. It's all about entertainment. It's all about so people can watch their perverted fucking shit. This whole perverted crap with the Jews has been going on long time since long fucking time with their perverted shit. And I'm just saying that they are the ones who created it. They go into every fucking country, spread that fucking propaganda shit and filth everywhere they go, and they leave a big fucking mass destruction behind for a lot of people who die for their fucking cause. And it's the truth. I'm sorry, but it is. You don't like what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck. But most people with half a fucking brain can figure this out. Just read the Curse of Canaan. Read about the history of the wars. Read about the Bible. It's all right fucking there in front of your face if you want to really know the truth about why this stuff happens. Why innocent people die to go to some fucking war so that the rich and the elite and the fucking banking system and the fucking, a lot of people know this, but a lot of people are oblivious to it, and they don't want to realize that that's what's going on. The fucking feds, the Federal Reserve, you're paying taxes for the fucking war, for some useless fucking war in some fucking foreign country, billions of dollars, so that they can what? Why? Where's all where's all your fucking tax money going? Look at the fucking infrastructure in this city and in this country. Especially in this neighborhood. All over the fucking place. They don't do a fucking thing about that, but they let all these goddamn illegals or immigrants over here to fix the fucking problem. But, oh, wow. But look at all the money they're giving to fight the fucking wars. And all this money to fight some goddamn war in some foreign country so that, why? Why are they doing it? Anyway, I'm not in the military. No offense to you who I'm offending. But, really ask yourself, what is political Zionism? That's where the root of the cause of all the fucking problems is right there. Political Zionism is a root of all this bullshit. Right there. Political Zionism. Do you want me to say it 10 times? Political Zionism. Political Zionism. Political Zionism. That is a root of the fucking problem everywhere. It's spread its fucking tentacles all over the goddamn globe. And you people wonder why the inflation, why you can't get a fucking job, why, you're paying so much on taxes, why the prices have gone up on, what's the word again, everybody? Political Zionism. Key phrase, political Zionism. Let that fucking register for a while.